ya? It's Crystal again. Welcome back to my channel. I just finished filming the terrarium one. There's nothing to it. Really, I promise you wouldn't miss anything if you chose not to do it. I was just building a terrarium and talking to you guys. Building like a kid's terrarium. Because I wanted one. So I got one. I'm going to get another one, and I'm probably going to make more, which I said all in that video. But at the moment, I'm getting ready to, well, first I'm cleaning up. But then I'm getting ready to cook a quick breakfast for dinner. And, there we go. And get, a few things prepped and started. Since I haven't been feeling good, I've noticed one of the easiest things for me to do when I don't feel good is, even though like today it's a low energy day, but I'm not going anywhere today or tomorrow, and probably not Wednesday, but I can try for Wednesday. But when it's, if I have enough energy and I haven't done anything outside of the house, which is today, I will make, hold on, before I forget, make a mess, but water the aloe. Anyway, I will make it a point to, when it makes sense, make 1 or 2 full meals ahead of time. And because I already know I have leftovers for 2 meals, that's what I'm going to do tonight, as and after I'm making the breakfast. So, like, I'm going to prep ingredients for the one meal while I'm cooking the breakfast, because it's only going to take 20-30 minutes to make breakfast for dinner. I'm going to eat that. So during that 20-30 minutes in between things, I'll just prep what I'm making for the other, probably for the chicken meal, and then, part of the ingredients for the gnocchi, and then I'll show you that, and I'll show you how to make my cream sauce. That'll make like 3 things for the week, which I will put on this video for Friday. The other meals, because it's Monday right now, the other meals I make this week, I'll put into a different video. I have to clear out some stuff in my refrigerator anyway. We need to use it up anyway because I have a new fridge coming. Whatever's still in my fridge and freezer, which we've just done some major shopping in the last month, I'll need to put in coolers or the refrigerator with ice, or not the refrigerator, the bathtub with ice, while they're installing the new ones so that I can transfer it over. It's not a problem. It's an inconvenience when you're switching to a new refrigerator, but it's not a problem. Other note, I was so happy to have bought this blender. And I'll probably buy another one just like it, and then I'll probably buy KitchenAid at some point, because it was new, but I killed it while making smoothies this week. I have to clean up my old one that you like can barely see right there. There you go. Which is an Oster. I had to bring that one out to finish the smoothies because I killed it mid-smoothie. So there's that, but I'm going to keep the blending carafes are not interchangeable, so I'm going to keep the one from the one that the motor's blown, buy another one of the same kind because it was not very expensive, and then I'll either buy an Oster so that I can match this one because this is an older one, or I'll buy a KitchenAid and hope that the glass one fits on there. For the meantime, since the motor's blown on that, I'm probably going to toss it. Anyway, I'm going to get to doing my dishes, and I'll be back with you guys in just a little bit. I'm going to leave you guys so I can listen to some music. I tried some of the raspberry ones, frozen, and I adored them. And Martin found these hyper dried fresh in white and dark chocolate nature's strawberries. I still have some of my raspberries in the freezer. However, while I get things ready. I haven't gotten past the dark chocolate yet. Obviously, I didn't put my teeth in. Kind of hard to chew through it. So, this is the meal I was going to make last night when I got home from taking teenagers home. It's good. And, running a couple errands, seeing my sister. But I didn't have the energy, so. And I was going to have to buy sausage or quick defrost bacon because Martin does not eat Spam. I am not being fancy. Spam. Oven preheating. My Great Value hash browns are on a baking sheet with some parchment paper. So that I can bake them. I did lightly salt them. Some people would think that was a lot of salt. That was not a lot of salt. Hopi and I actually like Spam. She, however, does not like these hash browns. She prefers the loose hash browns. I'm not talking about I'm not talking about like fried potatoes like you would make in the South that I really like to make. I'm talking, she likes the loose ones that you buy in the bag. You throw in some oil, you throw it in your pan. Yeah. I don't have any. I only have these ones on here. I have to buy some after the new freezer and fridge is installed. So, I'm going to make her some mashed potatoes, which is actually handy for me because since I'm going to be making potato gnocchi later, it means I'll have extra potato from the leftover instant mashed potatoes. It is not traditional. I am aware, but it is very good. And so that's why that one's not going to be prepped while we're doing this. If you have never cooked Spam, which a lot of you probably haven't, and a lot of you probably have at the same time, I'm going to lightly brown it on both sides. I'm going to rinse off my knife. I am going to, because I'm just going to do my eggs either sunny side up or over easy. I'm going to rinse off my knife. I'm going to get my tongs out and my leftover chicken and we'll start there. I'm going to grab myself a container to throw all this stuff in. I'm also going to take a package of chicken. I think its tenders might be breast out so that I can make some teriyaki chicken marinating. Give me just one moment to get organized. They were frozen together because I stacked them on top of each other. Basically like, like 2 chicken breasts per container. I'm going to keep them in this one while they're defrosting, and then I'm going to dump them in the same bag, and then I'm going to put my teriyaki mixture into it, and probably cook it on Wednesday in my crock pot. I have not turned on the heat to that because my oven has not made any noise. What I am going to do this is what was left over from Martin's and mine's plates. That's it. And the kids didn't want to bring home their leftovers, so I would have used that up too. So what I'm going to do here Because for this, I'm going to do onion in here. I'm going to go ahead and leave that because now it's set. But in the meantime, all I'm going to do is cut the kernels off. All of my waste is going to go directly into here. It's almost preheated. Spam only takes a couple minutes to cook. Eggs only take a couple minutes to cook at most. And these hash browns tend to take about 20 minutes. Hopi's Instant Mash take me less than 3 minutes to throw together. We always have Instant Mash in the house. And yes, along with milk, if that runs out this week or next week, we'll buy more. I'm going to put you on pause. Now, I don't tend to eat the skin. And this is... looks like we both had the dark meat left over. All I'm going to do with this, and I think my oven might have dinged while I was in the other room, is yank it off the bone, along with the extra little bits of actual fat. And I'm going to break it up in little pieces. Just like this. The oven's preheated, so I'm going to go ahead and throw those in there while I do this to my chicken, and turn the heat on my Spam no higher than medium-ish. And I'll see you guys when I have the chicken done to show you the next step. In about the 3 minutes it took me to do that, I had this in the oven. I forgot to hit, oh my wrist is shaking. I forgot to hit the timer, and I'm going to go ahead and do 20 minutes on it anyway. I'm going to turn this more fully up to medium. I'm going to grab a bag of frozen veggies, and then I'm also going to grab 1 onion. And just because I'm choosing spinach and it's in a box, I'm going to go ahead and heat it up for a minute and a half while I get the onion going. Because I want to add this entire thing to the rice when I'm cooking it, so I want that to be ready to go. What I'm going to do with this, Martin got me a vegetable chopper. Take my vegetable chopper. I have that attachment in it at the moment. Take my half onion, get my other half onion out of my way so I have this on a flat surface. Apparently this one's not as good as I'm used to. Give me a minute. We'll cut it into smaller pieces. This is going to take me a little while. So this is going to take me a minute, but I'll get back with you. Okay, so my sister called in the middle of all that. I dumped the chopped onion, and I did a good job. And on top of here, this is in here with the Spam for dinner. Got water starting to boil on the stovetop for Hopi's mashed potatoes. My hash browns are almost done. I am going to get eggs in the pan because I already have melted butter. We're going to do over easy. And that's going to be dinner. And I'll catch you after I eat to do the next bit. Sweetie, thank you. Don't overboil. I'll get to you in a moment. Finish eating. Is I'm going to wash out this pan because I'm going to use it again for the chicken and the rice. And then after I put that back in the container I currently have it in, I will probably wash it out yet again to do the gnocchi. I don't see the point in doing 17 billion different pans today. And yes, I am very aware that Spam is meat and that I'm going mostly pescatarian. But I've been craving Spam. It is one of the things I know that does not mess my stomach up very much. Even with the health issues I have. So therefore, I had bought a case of it at Costco. And I've gotten about halfway through it. And before I go to Costco again, I'd like to eat an entire another case of it. I also like to eat hash browns. So I made 2 extra hash browns today. That I'm not currently going to eat. There's more than enough leftovers in the house for Martin to have plenty of leftovers for lunch. Matter of fact, I still have lunches made up for Martin. So we're not worried about that at the moment. Those I'm going to eat later as a snack with some salsa and guac. Because yummy. Where is my salad supreme? Now, one of my favorite things to do when I have a over easy egg is put whatever meat, if I'm having meat, on top of my hash brown. Try not to break this yolk because it would be a travesty if I did right now. Lay that on top of my meat and my hash brown. Move this hash brown out of my way. Then, why did I get 2 forks out? And I was doing all that with both forks and didn't even realize it. When you do this number, ready? Breaking that yolk. Cutting through all 3 layers. Get a nice runny yolk going on. So you got it like that. That was very filling and very yummy. And leftover from supper is literally just the mashed potatoes. I knew it would be leftover. 1 piece of Spam out of that container. And the 2 hash browns I made extra so that I'd have my snack later. So what I'm going to do now, after I get this little bit of butter up off of here, well, margarine. is I'm going to make 2 packages of the Knorr chicken flavor rice. 2 packages to the instructions on the back of the package. Kind of. So that's 2. That's 4. A bit of margarine. And yes, I know I'm using a lot of packaged food lately. I have not been feeling well. And I use a lot of packaged foods when I work a lot too. Again, when you're not feeling well, or you're busy, or you're working, there's nothing wrong with using prepackaged foods to help you out. There's also nothing wrong with if you have the time and energy to make stuff ahead. Like, oh, I don't know, a cream of soup to help you along, or a cheese sauce, or a cream sauce to help you along later on in the week. Then go ahead and do that, because it'll help you. With the gnocchi and the cream sauce in a day or so, you'll probably be eating garlic knots again. I like garlic knots. I like being able to throw them in the bag, in the oven, and not think about it. Well, that starts to cook, because I'm not going to just put that in there the entirety. I'm going to put my leftover mashed potatoes in here. I'm going to wait until this rice is about halfway cooked, and then I'm going to toss in the container of ingredients I have prepped, along with a few more seasonings, and I'll show you that then. Cook it the rest of it. I might need to add more liquid. That happens occasionally when you're doing basically a one-pot meal. And it will go directly back into that container when it is done being cooked, because that's all either pre-cooked or just raw vegetable that's in there currently. So once it's cooked in here, it'll be fine to go back in there because the meat's not raw in there. And then that container itself will go into my refrigerator. To this mashed potato, I'm going to add 2 of my remaining 3 eggs and flour until you make a dough. You don't want to make it an overly offensive dough, but just a dough. I did not mean it as overly offensive. I meant it as overly stiff. Well, I mean, if your dough gets too stiff, it is kind of offensive, unless that's what you're going for. Turn that down to medium. I am not going to cover it. I know normally when you make that, you would cover it. I am not going to cover it. I don't need to. Go-to thing to do. However, I like doing it when I have leftover mashed potatoes. We have them a lot. So I don't do it all the time with the leftover mashed potatoes. But we have them a decent amount of times because it's one of Hopi's favorite foods, and she eats it with a lot of her meals. So therefore, and she doesn't really do leftovers in the same form that they were. Probably once every 2 to 3, sometimes as long as 4 weeks apart, I'll make gnocchi. And I make it a little different every single time. This time I'm going to add some of my Kinder's Greek blend garlic and herbs seasoning before I add the flour. And some of the caramelized onion butter Kinder's. think I got this one at Costco. Now careful with this, the sodium in this is decent. And then I'm also going to add some black pepper. It's just easier for me to mix the seasoning in before I add the flour. And a lot of times I don't even add any seasoning other than maybe some salt and pepper. If that. Okay, that's about half-ish. Could I have browned those onions and caramelized them? Of course. I would rather not saute them and let them just cook through. I don't want the caramelized flavor in this particular meal. Let me stir it and see where we are liquid-wise. Because the reason I left the spinach mostly frozen too, is because there's liquid in there that will let go. Oh yeah. I need at least 2 to 4 cups. I'm going to let this sit for a little bit. This is almost done. My chicken for the meal in the crock pot is still defrosting. I'm getting tired if you can't tell by the look on my face. Mixing that by hand is not the smartest thing to do when you don't feel well. However, it is what I did. Subway's sweet onion teriyaki. Garlic ranch. And the best honey mustard I've ever found. No, because I have an electric stove. This is only going to be on for another minute or so before I turn it off, and then going to let the heat that's left over finish cooking it through, because that burner is not going to cool down right away. It's not a gas range. When most of that water is completely gone, I'm going to add, I don't know, a quarter cup to a half a cup, depending on flavor, of the sweet teriyaki, or the sweet onion teriyaki. About a quarter a cup of the garlic ranch. And an eighth to a quarter of the honey mustard. And that's going to be it. That's all I'm going to do. Then I'm going to let it cool. After I transfer it into the other, I'm going to let it cool a little bit in the pan, and then I'm going to let it cool more when I transfer it into the container that I had prepped the ingredients into. And then I will let it completely cool in that, and then I'll stick it in the fridge. I'll be back in a few minutes. For you guys it'll be seconds. For me it's probably going to be closer to an hour. I need to get off my feet, take some Tylenol or ibuprofen, and let my body catch up, because I only have a little bit, and if I decide to not do it tonight, then I will chill the dough that I just made, and we'll do the gnocchi tomorrow. I haven't decided yet. We'll figure it out when it's closer to how when it's closer to seeing how I feel. I have now been on my feet about a total of an hour, hour and a half in the kitchen, not to mention taking care of the animals, etc. And not to mention the however long that video was of me making the terrarium, because I need to edit that and put it up. And it's not going to be much editing. It's just really going to be like making sure the volume's up high enough and taking a couple pictures as the humidity in there makes it easier to see. And then hopefully one later on tonight if I can get it to glow. Alright guys, I'll see you in a split second. That'd be really good with like some grated Parmesan Reggiano, Asiago. Just a little bit of something over the top. Chihuahua? Yeah. I know that's not how you say it, but you know, it's stuck in my head that way because I have a Chihuahua and I've been calling him my Chihuahua forever. I'm gonna clean up. I'm gonna go sit down, guys. I'm gonna throw this in on Wednesday's video as well. But in here is what I'm using to make the teriyaki chicken marinating. I'm having it marinate for tonight because it's Monday night. I don't know. It's like it's after dark on Monday. All day tomorrow, and I'll put it in the crock pot Wednesday morning. So this is 4 chicken breasts, half a bottle of Lawry's teriyaki sauce, about 1/8 of a cup of soy sauce, about 1/8 of a cup of honey, and 1/8 of a cup of maple. And then I've got about 1/2 cup of garlic in here. And what was left of my minced ginger, I'm going to say that it's probably about a 1.5 tablespoons, just from looking at. This is just some malted vinegar. I'm going to put just a splash in here. I don't have any rice wine vinegar or anything. You don't need a lot of that. And then I'm going to make sure this isn't something I want to use. Hey, don't yell at me. Going to get the accent down. Throwing a little bit of that in here. And then we'll deal with the rest of the seasonings when I throw it into the crock pot and see how much liquid we need to add. The lid for this is over here. It's one of these. I think it's this one. Yup. So this is going to go in my fridge and marinate in my fridge. My gnocchi dough is going to go rest in my refrigerator overnight. I'll do gnocchi tomorrow when I have some more energy. And this chicken and rice, let me stir it just a little bit so it doesn't look like I just like took a slice of it. It's still warm. It's not cold enough to go in the fridge yet. Is this thick. That's the texture I wanted it to be. It's going to go in a container now to finish cooling off while these two go in my fridge until I'm ready for them. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm not even going to eat my snack just yet. For you guys, it'll be a few seconds. For me, it'll be tomorrow. So, I have to run my dishwasher, but, my dishwasher always sounds like it's summoning demons, and so since it sounds like it's summoning demons, there's no point in me having you in the kitchen with me while I'm cooking. So I'll make the gnocchi later, or I'll make it in the morning, but currently I'm going to take some of the gnocchi, batter, dough, whatever you want to call it, and I'm going to flatten a couple of them out, or a little bit of it out into little pancakes to make a basic potato pancake without it being technically a potato pancake, because they're amazing. The dough is amazing. I mean, it just is. Raw flour and egg is not, I don't recommend eating it, but it just, it smells amazing. It already tastes amazing, and I haven't even cooked it. I'm going to make a few of those for Martin and I each. Make a cream cheese sauce, not cream cheese, sour cream sauce, so that we can put that on top. Probably some, sour cream, chives, some other flavors. Yes, I'm trying to get my dogs away from my stuff. And then I'm just going to heat up some of that rice and chicken right now. I will be making Hopi some taco meat. We have tortillas, we have cheese. And it's just easier. She doesn't like gnocchi. She doesn't really do the chicken mixed with rice. So I already promised her I'd make it, so I'm going to make it. But I'm going to go, and you might get a quick, like, quick speed through of me doing it, like visually, and I may do a voiceover afterwards, but I'm not going to talk while I'm doing it because there's no point. You guys won't be able to tell what I'm saying because of my dishwasher. I'll see you guys in a minute. Alright guys, so here I'm just getting the taco meat ready. I think I've made tacos on this channel before. I'm not measuring my seasonings. I'm throwing all the new seasonings and old seasonings in there, dumping some water in with my ground meat, which was still mostly frozen. Turning it on to high and literally just cooking it. I'd run out of salt, so I had to add more. I'm adding oil to my pan and heating it up along with some margarine. I'm going to flatten out some of that dough here in a minute. You'll see that I had transferred it into bags for overnight. I'm also at the moment mixing together some sour cream and some of the cream cheese with chives in it and some of the sour cream, onion and French onion dip. Sorry, my brain went dead. I nuked it for just a minute, not even like 30 seconds, and then I mixed it together and put it back in the fridge just to wait till dinner was ready. I was taking that dough out of the bag, forming small patties, cooking it about halfway through, flipping it over, and then putting it on a plate with paper towel on it to dry. And then you'll see in a second I get out the rice, and I put it onto plates, and I add some cheese to it and put it in the microwave and heat that up. And then I'm going to put the patties on the plate for partner and I'm going to turn around and add that sour cream dip, which by the way, that tastes epically amazing. It also was really good when mixed with the rice, chicken, and cheese. I hope you really liked her tacos this time. I had turned around and I had added some of her cayenne pepper in there. But yeah, this turned out really amazing, and I think I show you guys me taking a bite. I'm gonna shut up now because I really enjoyed making that, but I'm also really tired while I'm editing this. I found what's left of my pumpkin spice coffee. You can tell I haven't gotten any sleep. Okay, so let me move you slightly. That's a little bit better. To make the cream sauce for the gnocchi. Yes, I'm doing this early in the day. Yes, I'm going to use the last of my very, very real butter because I want to. And I'm making plenty of gnocchi. I'm not going to store my gnocchi in with my sauce, so my sauce can be made first. It's a cream and a creamy cheese sauce. It's one of my own little things that I do quite frequently. Got the butter down with the garlic. I'm going to get about a cup and a half of warm water. I've got coffee going if you can hear something in the background other than the birds. Not quite a cup and a half. And my pollo seasoning. That, of course, because my hands are not what they should be, I have to use a knife to open. You know, I don't like myself when I do this, when I video and I walk off camera and I'm still talking. Because when I'm editing, you would think I could just go and we're guesstimating. You would think that I could just go and be like, oh, okay. No big deal. I walked off camera. I won't be talking. Yeah, no, that's not the case. This is just the oil with tomato. I don't use it a lot. I like it. I don't use it a lot for the simple fact that it has a very potent flavor. There will be more added to this. I just wanted this to dissolve properly. And while this warms up and that goes on and this happens because it's doing its thing, I am going to chop up another onion like I did the other day on here. Same video. You've seen me do it already, so you don't need to see me do it again. I can get that done real quick. So this is just the butter, the garlic, and the onion. The butter's almost completely melted down. I'm going to cook this until the onion is basically almost translucent. Doing this because I like the flavor that's in there. While that happens, I'm going to take a block of this cream cheese. I'm going to cut it up into smaller pieces just because. Please don't do this if you wear glasses without your glasses on. And please don't cut toward yourself. It's not safe, but I do it all the time. Just manageable pieces that are going to make it easier to melt. That is some good coffee. I needed that coffee. Anyway, I haven't really stirred this since I stirred it on the camera. It's only been a couple minutes. I've got it on a just slightly higher than medium heat. The onions as cooked as I want them to look without having them go through the whole being in the sauce. Put this in here. And I'm going to go ahead and add another 2 cups of water to this because while I'm cooking this down, before I even add the cheese or the milk, it's going to absorb a lot of this liquid because I'm about to turn the heat up. This dishwasher today. And by the time I'm done with this, I'll probably run it. I'm going to turn this up to a medium high. If you have an electric one, it's usually like it goes from low through 2 to 8 and then high. Mine's sitting between 7 and 8. What I'm going to do here, and I know I said I wasn't adding cheese, but Parmesan, even this kind, because the kind I like is the grated kind, and I don't buy it very often because, and yes, I need to clean my stove, so I'm just dumping it. I don't buy it much because we just go through this so often. And I have a bigger one still in my thing. But Parmesan takes a while to cook down so it's not grainy. So I'm going to go ahead and add that now with some seasonings and let this kind of like bubble and stew before I add anything else. I'm going to let this happen for about 10 to 15 minutes while I drink my coffee. And then we'll start adding other things. Oh, I forgot to say what seasonings I was putting in here. You know already I've got garlic in here. I'm going to put some of this caramelized onion butter in here. It is salty. I don't need to add a lot. Some of the garlic powder just for a little more flavoring. Some of my onion powder. If you wonder why this keeps coming out so fast, it's because this side got stuck open. I have another onion powder that I can use, but this one's not empty yet, and the other one doesn't have room for me to put all this powder in there. I don't mind that it over onions sometimes. It doesn't bother me, so we're good. I'm also going to add just a little bit of paprika. Or not, yeah, a little bit of paprika, a little bit of cumin. Or, this paprika's empty, I've got more. Can you tell I'm tired? I'm going to need that too. A little bit of turmeric, a little bit of cumin, a little bit of paprika, and a little bit of black pepper. And a little bit of my Greek seasoning from Kinder. Yeah, Kinder's. I had to double check that. I wasn't quite sure. Wrong one. I have a chipotle chili pepper crushed powder thing that I use when I'm cooking some Hopi's food because she likes spicy. And I keep thinking it's my paprika, my other paprika, and it's not. And I'm like, ooh, that would not be good throwing in there. That's paprika. I don't know why I put that in there yesterday when I was like mostly awake. Okay, now I'm going to let this go for 10-15 minutes before I get back with you guys. So this has been going about 10 minutes. I've taken the garbage out. I've only stirred it a couple times as I can feel from the bottom of the pan. So I'm going to take it off the heat and deglaze it for a minute because you can see that's from seasonings and onion and garlic. And yeah, I'll put it back on the heat in a minute. Anyway, I've taken the garbage out. I've been drinking a little bit of my coffee. I've listened to a little bit of a podcast. And this is nothing but mostly seasoning at the bottom of my pan. I just don't want it to, like, this is the pan that got mildly, the top one got mildly messed up on. So it's a rather new pan, but the top one still got mildly messed up on. And so in the center, it kind of tends to stick a little bit. But now that that's done, before I even turn the heat back on, I'm going to slide it back over onto my thing. And the Parmesan is mostly melted in there. This whole block of cream cheese in mostly manageable bits. I don't know why I'm trying to be so delicate about this, probably because I'm on camera. And trying to avoid getting any of the paper in there. It's going right in here. Like that. I can smell my crock pot starting to work. For another video and another meal. And I think this weekend, for short, I'll put a compilation together of all of the pictures of the food from this week. And the different variations of the meals that I did with just the stuff that I made. I don't much consider yesterday cooking, even though I was heating stuff up and I did make taco made for Hopi. It's not really cooking. Okay, so even though the heat's not on at the moment, the cream cheese is starting to melt a little bit. And I'm just still working on the bottom of this pan. Like, there's little tiny bits. I can feel it drag. Just be patient. Your cream cheese will melt. Your seasonings will deglaze. Nothing in here is burnt. And I am going to smash this down a little bit just so that it'll melt a little bit faster and incorporate a little bit faster. I'm not adding everything just yet, and I'm not turning the heat back on just yet. This is going to take a little bit. Make sure everything is down to like a manageable amount. Because I'm going to add some more cream cheese and sour cream to this here in a minute. And then, because I keep telling you guys, I'm doing this to get rid of what's in my refrigerator, and also because I haven't been feeling good and I want to kind of do some batch cooking this week. I've got leftover of this from when I made nachos. Very little of this leftover. This is the sour cream and cheese, cream cheese spread with the chive and onion. I'm going to use some of our leftover sour cream, not all of it. And then I've got Gouda that came from a Costco cheese plate. Some Swiss that's left over. And I can't pronounce this one, but it's a really soft, really nummy cheese. These will also go in here, but at the moment, what I'm going to stick in here before I turn the heat back on is what's left of here. With everything, I've got... Probably, if you were to ask most people, I've got too much in my freezer right now. But with what I have on hand, we can comfortably eat for at least a month, if not more. not counting leftovers. What's in the refrigerator will spoil faster than what's in the freezer when it comes to when my new one gets here. So I am trying to kind of go through what's in there. Trying not to buy too much extra. Kind of using up the odds and ends and bits and pieces. So this is similar to how I always make this, because I use a lot of odds and ends and bits and pieces. The cream cheese is always going to happen. If I don't have a chicken stock of some sort from me cooking chicken, I make a quick one. I don't always put this much butter in here, but I was looking for something rich today. I'm going to do some gnocchi and some herbs, garlic, and margarine later. Should have saved some butter for that, but wasn't thinking about it. Quit! It's me, guys. I just banged on the pan. I'm going to turn the heat back on. It's a little bit higher than medium. Missy, Trixie, enough. I've opened up my sliding glass door to let some fresh air in the house. I'm going to pour in, I don't know, I'm going to eyeball some milk. This is a rich yellow color at the moment. It's going to tone down quite a bit. And then later when I show you the gnocchi, and again, this is going to cook down, because once I have it at a certain point, I'll start making gnocchi. And it's not going to get cooked in here, but I want this to be beginning to do its thing. I'm going to show you how to make gnocchi. I'm probably going to cook some of it with my air fryer. And I'll cook all my gnocchi except for a little bit of it today or this morning, what have you. Quiet, girls. I was gonna say something. The girls distracted me. But I'm just gonna show you how to make it. And then you can pan fry it with just some butter or margarine, some herbs and garlic, and call it good. You can do it up, toss it on a baking sheet, spray it with some extra virgin olive oil and bake it. That would work very well as well. You're just going to do it till it's done, guys. It's a potato pasta. When the outside's golden, you're pretty much done. You can stick it in your air fryer. I'm going to do some of it in the air fryer. And that's, I think I do it for like 6 minutes, maybe 7 again, at just whatever temperature my air fryer turns on at. I'm not very picky when it comes to that. And then, this is in no way fully incorporated yet, by the way. This takes a while. And then it takes even longer to cook down to a thicker consistency. I need to wash that teapot. Hope's teapot's right behind this burner where I always cook, and outside is ewy dirty at the moment. Just with like butter splatters and whatnot. You can deep fry it. I've had chefs I know that I've worked with that have deep fried the gnocchi. Some of them were putting it in the soup right after they baked it off, and then they're like, oh, it's going to be amazing, and of course it turns into a soggy mess. And they were using store-bought gnocchi because they weren't making it in the restaurant itself. And I couldn't help but be like, so they tried deep frying it and leaving it separate from the chicken soup that they were adding it into, because chicken soup and gnocchi actually works really well. And it stayed good, because you don't, if you put it in right before you serve it, so you make your soup, but you leave your gnocchi to the side. You deep fry your gnocchi, or you bake your gnocchi, or you air fry your gnocchi. You get your servings of soup gone, and you throw in a handful of gnocchi. That's all they were doing. Of course, they had a more, this is our measurements thing, but they weren't really measuring it on the line. My kitchen is getting hot. I'm going to have to turn my air back on and shut that door wall. And I love these pieces of cheese. You can take and serve your gnocchi with a cream sauce like I'm doing now. A cheesy cream sauce. You can do a balsamic tomato. Butter, garlic, and herbs. I can't remember if I added my Greek herbs in here. I'll just add a couple more. A marinara. A Alfredo. A pesto sauce. Not all of these are traditional, obviously. Many of them aren't. However, I really, really like most of them. I don't like my gnocchi with... No, I turned it around and looked at it, and I don't think I added any. I don't see any really floating around in here. And if I did add some, it's fine. I can add a little bit more. I don't really like it with marinara. I do like it with pesto, but I haven't had it with pesto in a long time. My favorite way is either with butter, garlic, and herbs, or with a cream sauce. And no, not all of the cheese is near melted. None of this is quite done. But this, like, if you get one of those cheese trays from Costco or Sam's Club or any grocery store for that matter, and you guys don't eat it all, or you're getting towards the end of where you're like, I really don't, I mean, I love cheese. I could snack on it all day. But because it's been, you know, exposed to air and whatnot, you're like, I really don't want it to go bad. Making a cream sauce with cheese in it, or making a cheese sauce, is one of the best ways that you can use it up. You come up with some amazing flavors that way. Even cheeses you didn't think you were going to like, doing it this way, where you're incorporating it with other flavors, makes a huge difference. I've got one more cheese to add, and then I'm going to occasionally stir this while I'm showing you guys how to make the gnocchi. I've already showed you how to make the gnocchi pasta, or the dough. And then, when it's all completely done, I'll show you guys. I'll show you some of the completed gnocchi. But while I'm doing most of my cooking today, I am going to be listening to some podcasts and drinking some coffee. Later on, I need to go to the thrift store, and I need to start on the top of the refrigerator. And if I have the energy at the end of the day, obviously you can tell that I haven't slept, because I've told you too, I'm thinking that I'm Wonder Woman at the moment. Happens a lot when I lose sleep. I'm going to stick my hair up too before I start making the gnocchi. I'll work on getting the cupboards down. But just doing things like this, okay, just doing things like this, where you're using up odds and ends, bits and pieces out of your refrigerator, as, you know, our mothers did, as our grandparents did, as their parents did, odds and ends, vegetable stock from their stews. This stretches your food budget like you wouldn't believe if you don't do it already. You can then take things that you've been like, that's a leftover, I'm never going to use that for anything, and transform it into something else, like my leftover mashed potatoes that I just did, the leftover sushi I did before. Now, yeah, I'm taking a lot of stuff out of my fridge and putting a lot of stuff back into my refrigerator, but the difference being is what I'm putting back into my refrigerator is the food we're going to eat for this week. Now, if we want something different, obviously I'll make something different. But at the moment, Hopi has at least 3 days worth of tacos, 2 days worth of chicken nuggets, and one of her breakfast burrito frozen things. Martin and I have, most of Martin's lunches are made for the week. The chicken and rice and spinach dish is in my refrigerator. We ate some of that with some potato pancakes out of the gnocchi batter. Which they don't turn out right if you do it that way, but they're still tasty. So between the teriyaki chicken, that chicken and rice, because we ate some of that yesterday, and the gnocchi, Martin and I probably aren't going to want anything different till Friday or Saturday. And I can take a gnocchi with a cheese sauce, cream sauce, and run with it all week without having to actually eat any more chicken or any more other meat. I did steal one of the tacos yesterday because it sounded good after I ate my dinner. Excuse me. Alright, this has mostly got the cheese melted inside of it. I'll turn the heat down a little bit so it doesn't scorch while I'm not paying 100% attention to it. Get myself set up to make some gnocchi and show you guys how to do it. We'll stir this on and off during it. Be back in a second. Guess one good thing about my hair thinning is, and it's almost dry. Not bad. I'm gonna have to move you guys in a moment. Hold on. Because when I toss my gnocchi in this bowl, I don't want it to start sticking to each other. And I'm just going to set this aside on the other side of that pot. I only took the bag out that I'd already taken stuff out of. And put some flour down on my cutting board. Go ahead and just move this over here for now. You can see I need to clean my table up again. It's okay. That is months and months of me not feeling good. Now all I'm going to do, and every woman who's ever made gnocchi in their entire life is probably screaming at me, and I don't mind because I know I'm not doing this right. Oh, and I need to change those fly traps out today. The flies are getting to be less. I can't stand, I don't know what this is. I don't need the second bag. This one's not going back in the refrigerator like this. I'm going to dump that out. I'm going to put some more flour on my hand. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take off a piece. I'm working a manageable piece at the moment. I'm going to throw this in the flour that's on my cutting board. And you want to make a snake. Okay? Make a snake. I already put that knife away, so we'll get this one out. And then cut it into pieces. This is a tedious process, and I'm not good at rolling it and doing the fork thing. It has a knack to it that I just personally don't have very well. But you cut them to be about this size. I know I have too much flour on my board. I always put too much flour on my board. I will say, if you're doing this in an air fryer, you want to do it in batches. If you're doing this on a cookie sheet in your oven, you're going to do it in flat, even layers, one layer at a time on each sheet. If you're doing it in a deep fryer, you're going to do it in batches. If you're boiling it, which I don't know why people boil it, you don't want to overload your water. You'll end up with nothing but floury potato water. And I'm going to try. So what you do is you take your piece and you take your floured fork. I've seen it done, and you push it down and you roll it towards you, and see, mine doesn't really do it. I just get little, yeah. But that's how you do that. I will get back with you guys in however many billions of hours it takes for me to finish this. And I'm going to move that bowl closer to me in just a minute. Otherwise, I'm going to just keep putting that one slightly better. The more you do it, the better they get. Otherwise, I'm going to just keep getting flour into my sauce for the gnocchi. And it's not going to hurt anything, but I don't want to start thickening it up with flour or cornstarch right now. And I do prefer cornstarch. It's less clumpy, although you can use flour. Either slurry will work. But this is going to take a while, as you can see. And I just tossed them in that bowl. And that's all I'm going to do. So I'll be back with you guys. I'm going to listen to a podcast, drink my coffee, maybe turn on some music. Whatever I need to do to get this done. Start cooking some. And show you when everything is. All of the cheese is mostly incorporated in that sauce already, by the way. It's only been a few minutes. There's a little bit of cream cheese still floating here and there. And I've already tasted it. It tastes amazing. It's got a rich, goldeny, creamy color at the moment. And on top of that, not only does it need to reduce, but it tastes amazing. Alright, let me get this done. So, you can hear my air fryer in the background. What I've decided to do with both my air fryer and my baking is do like a par bake, because I tend to like these tossed in butter and cooked through the rest of the way in butter. So I par baked these up. You can see there's some brown, but there's a lot of give to these at the moment. They're not fully cooked. It takes about 9 minutes in my air fryer at 370. My oven's at 350. I just popped a tray in there. I don't know how long it's going to take. No, I didn't add any extra oil. That's because I like tossing it in a sauce or tossing it in butter, and they don't need to completely fully be cooked for me to do that, because I will probably fry these up in a little bit of butter throughout the week right before I throw them in the sauce as I heat the sauce up. And I haven't done all of it. I haven't formed all of it. My calves at the moment are killing me. I've been on my feet for hours at the moment. I told you earlier it was like 8 o'clock. I don't know, it's after 9 right now. I'm going to keep working on this, but I need to sit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself a lunch together. I've got just some margarine and some garlic, and some, well, a lot of garlic, and some of that, in fact, I'll put a little bit more of that in there now that I'm looking at it. That Greek seasoning in here. And how about a pinch of salt too, huh? And then let's cut some cherry tomatoes in half and toss them in there as well after I get the pasta finished cooking. And just cook those tomatoes till they're a little bit warm and pop a little bit. I'll cut them in half first, obviously. I just set it. And that's what I'm going to do. So after I eat my lunch, I'm going to turn this sauce down a little bit lower while I eat after I get out of here. I'm going to edit this video, so the next time you'll see it, well, you'll have seen the whole thing on Friday. I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm tired. I'm going to edit this video and get it posted so that I don't have to So we're not going to worry about doing a picture, I don't think, at the end of this about this meal. Again, I think I'm just going to do a montage of all the meals in a short on Saturday. You guys, thank you for watching. I know this was a long one. Appreciate everything you do when you come here. Hope you have an amazing weekend. I hope you had an amazing week. And I hope you have an amazing week coming up. Many blessings to you. Bye now. I did add just a little bit of the sauce in there. Lunch at like 9:30 in the morning. Ooh, do not put that in the sink right now. You've got plastic in there. You will melt that. The oven's fine. Turn this down a little bit while I go eat. You can set that over there. Yay! Food. That's good right there. That's some good stuff right there. A little bit more garlic than I wanted. But I'll be alright.